Welcome back to the NBL Canada Live This Week podcast. Going straight into our power rankings, let's start with the Atlantic Division, Kobe, and my team at the number 4 spot. I don't feel they're going to stay there for very long. It's the Island Storm, currently with 10 wins on the year, but a very resounding win over the St. John Millrats this past weekend. This team is on the upward swing with the acquisition of Chad Posthumus at the center spot and Morgan Lewis, who we all know can knock down shots from anywhere in the gym. It's really looking positive for the Island Storm as we're moving towards the playoffs. Now, a team that's just above them in my power rankings are the Moncton Miracles, a team who has really embraced the defensive mentality that head coach Paul McKeskey brings to them. We noted earlier that they were the top-ranked offense in the league earlier. They make the coaching change to McKeskey, and now they're pulling out these close games. They make the acquisition of getting Gary Gibson, got Sean Van Zant that's in the fold now, and just the whole roster itself is really feeding off of the energy that's surrounding the Moncton Miracles franchise. So big moves up for Moncton this week. My next team is the St. John Millrats, a team that we have no problem discussing on a weekly basis on this podcast. Like you said, they're anchored on the defensive side of the floor from Anthony Stover. On the offensive side of the ball, they've got Agent AA Anthony Anderson, who can knock down 50 points in a night if he wants to, and of course all the supporting features that are there, Gabe Freeman, and like I said, we could talk about these guys for a very lengthy time. So St. John right now on the second spot in my power rankings in the Atlantic Division, and then it's the Halifax Hurricanes, 16-7, and they're there for a good reason. This is a very, very, very solid basketball club. Big shout out to Justin Johnson, who was named the NBL Canada Player of the Week. And just to solidify some of the stats that surround Halifax, right now this team is first in defensive rebound, in total rebounding, first in scoring margin, first in field goal percentage, and first in free throw percentage. So those are four very key stats that they are tops in the league in, and that's why, in my opinion, they are the top ranked team in the Atlantic Division.
I will take a look and break down your Central Division rankings, starting with the 8-17 Orangeville Aids. We talked about the addition of Tyrone Watson, Richard Amarty, and big man Justin Moss getting some relief. They bring in Daquan Brooks. What a fantastic, crafty, skilled point guard. And then they go out and bring in Tyrone Watson. I liked your analogy of that piece of sandpaper, because that's what he is. He's going to give you that grit, that toughness, that fire down low, and this guy can score. This Orangeville Aids team struggling a little bit to score the basketball, 99.4 points per game, so they needed that scoring punch, and with Tyrone Watson, he can put in 20 on any given night. We've also seen them recently go on a 3-game run. They've come into Windsor the other night, like we talked about earlier, and took Windsor right down to the wire at the WFCU Center, shooting the 3-ball much better. This squad playing a lot better than an 8-17 team, that is for sure. Chris Thomas, after a rough stretch, really gets things going for the Orangeville Aids. We're going to next look at the 10-17 Niagara River Lions. It's interesting because you see Orangeville go out and get Tyrone Watson, and Niagara answers the bell, bringing in former Kansas Jayhawk Travis Relaford. Relaford helps the Jayhawks to 5 Big 12 championships. Unbelievable, a Final Four appearance, and during his last stay in the NBL, 20 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. So this guy isn't just a role player. This is a guy that is going to produce at a very, very high level. The Niagara River Lions playing a great basketball. This is a well-run organization. They have shown a commitment to that team, and moving forward, I expect great things. The 15-13 Windsor Express making that push for the Central Division. Will they get there? We don't know yet, but they're going to make their best effort, led by Chris Commons doing everything he can on both sides of the floor. His play this year has been unbelievable. Tony Bennett, Brandon Robinson, Kirk Williams Jr., Maurice Bolden, the list goes on, all contributing. Windsor, like to see them score the basketball a little more. They are a shade under 100 points, but their points against is what keeps them in this thing and makes them so special. That championship level defense, just under 100 points per game for opponents. That is really good. They bring in Sharon Collins. This guy had big time experience coming into this thing. Time spent with the Charlotte Bobcats. Just a monster player, really solidifying that backcourt, bringing a lot of size. We've seen him in the last home game in Windsor struggling from the field, 0-5 I believe, but has the confidence to take that big three-point shot and drills it. He doesn't make that shot, I don't know that they win that game. So I believe Sharon Collins, when he gets in shape, when he gets into rhythm, when he builds that cohesiveness with his teammates, I think he will be a great addition to this Windsor Express team. Last but not least, your 17-9 London Lightning, scoring 107.5 points per game, allowing opponents to score 103.4. I believe they lead the scoring margin or very close to. And if you look at the top 20 statistical categories in this league, they are near the top of almost every one. This team does so much together. And Nick Evans comes in 6'10". They really needed that height and size. I think the closest player in height behind him was 6'9". So they're not the biggest team, but they don't play small, that's for sure. And Nick O'Corey and company just getting it done. Once again, they are perennial contenders in this league. They're already owned 2 NBL Canada championships. And I expect nothing less this year. Try to regain that championship, bring it back to London, well supported by their fans. Great organization, and arguably the best team in the NBL.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Well done, my friend Kobe, breaking down the NBL Canada Power Rankings. Let's see how these shake up next week. You never know in a week of NBL Canada action. So